Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this brand new video about Thailand and India. I'm going to compare the two for you as a long-time traveler, as somebody who has traveled quite extensively all his life because of my work as a musician primarily, but even before that. So I'm going to give you my 2 cents about the two countries, how they compare, and especially also the cost of both of them, because that is relevant for most travelers. Let's jump into it. So, first of all, what is the difference in between those two countries? Is it small or is it big? The difference is humongous, in my opinion, culturally, but also from the landscape and from the feel. If you're in Thailand, you really feel like in Southeast Asia. When you are in India, that is a completely different beast. The Indian subcontinent feels, in my opinion, quite different from the rest of Asia. So Nepal, Sri Lanka, India, even Bhutan to a certain degree, although that's like a different type of country than India for sure. All of those feel a certain way, and then the Southeast Asian countries feel a different way, Thailand chief amongst them. So first of all, those two countries feel completely different. And they look completely different, they smell completely different, they behave completely different. The traffic, for example, is a lot more controlled in Thailand, in my opinion, if you compare it to India. You really have to get used to India in terms of how the people drive. They drive quite insane to a certain degree if you come from the outside. I have been there so many times that I'm just like totally assimilated by now, and I know all the stuff that can happen and that frequently happens on the Indian roads. Thailand is a lot more tame in that regard, a lot more controlled. You still will find the outlier, crazy driver or dangerous maneuver from a person, but that's like, there's no comparison in between the two. Let's talk a little bit about food, because I think that also is relevant. First of all, we have to talk about vegetarian people, which I am one of. So how does Thailand fare in terms of vegetarian food? I'd say it's like somewhere mid to not that great in terms of availability. There's just immense use of oyster sauce, shrimp paste, and lots of meat, lots of chicken, lots of fish. It is possible in the bigger cities to get vegetarian food, even excellent vegetarian food from the vegetarian restaurants. It will be slightly more expensive, let's say, than street food. Street food is by now around like 60 to maybe 80 baht, and then like a la carte, something ordering at a restaurant, that would be maybe like around 120 to 150 baht, depending, for a not so expensive normal kind of place, normal vegan eatery like Heaven or Begin. And there you will get like vegetarian and vegan food, no problem. That will be absolutely delicious, beautiful, and quite worth the price, you can say. In India, in comparison, vegetarian people are completely fine wherever they are. There are even some cities which are completely veg, which is quite perfect, because you don't even have to worry about is something non-veg or not. So that's the thing. If you're a meat eater though, if you're a non-veg person, then the whole thing flips, of course. Thailand is, I guess, a heaven for meat-eating people and non-veg people for sure. I can't really comment on that experience, but from my friends, I do know that this is quite fantastic food in terms of taste and so forth. And yeah, that's the situation. You will find food in big cities because you can go to specially designated vegan places or vegetarian places, and people in general are more accommodated to that fact that there are, foreigners that want vegetarian food. But yeah, on the countryside, let's say, or in smaller cities, it becomes increasingly harder. For example, Chiang Rai, in comparison to Chiang Mai, the second biggest city in Thailand, they have some vegan buffet restaurants, but they don't have this variety that you would find where I am right now in Chiang Mai or in Bangkok, of course. I mean, Bangkok is so big. Of course, you have a lot of options there. And vegan and vegetarian and Thai food can be really delicious. I understand that it's like not the traditional way. For example, certain things or most things are done with fish sauce, and then that gets replaced by soy sauce or other things that are vegetarian. And I get that that is not the absolute craziest, authenticity level, of course. But for vegetarian people, it's great to try out those dishes. So this is it with food. Let's talk a little bit about prices. Let's talk a little bit about how much does it cost. India is just way cheaper all around. Let's face it. In all regards, it doesn't matter. Like, in all regards, in my opinion. Transportation, accommodation, F&B, so like food and beverage, and like basically all of that stuff. Same story. It's 100% cheaper in all regards. So let's say, for example, okay, let's compare. The room in Rishikesh that I had before I went to Thailand was 850, so like 850 rupee. I don't know, that translates roughly to around like maybe 8 to 10 euros. Then what is the normal thing for a private room with AC? Not fancy, but not shitty. In Chiang Mai, that's 500 to 600 at least. 600 would be cheap or would be like a good deal for a great room with AC in a great location. And then can easily go up to 1,000, 1,200. So if you're traveling solo, that is, it quickly would add up for people that don't have infinite amounts of money. Let's put it like that. It's also a question for which things do you want to spend your money. So yeah, 1,200 baht translates, or 1,000 baht, let's say, translates to roughly 30 euros. So you have a 1 to 3 in accommodation. Bikes, yeah, the same story. So like I got an incredibly cheap deal over some contacts and friends in Chiang Mai, where I'm paying 150 baht for a scooty, for example. In India, I absolutely never ride a scooty because bikes are relatively affordable in India. So why drive a less safe bike if you can get like a really good bike like Royal Enfield Classic, X-Pulse, or the Himalayan, and many other bikes. I mean, India is the bike capital of the world in a way, so you are going to be fine, especially if you love big bikes. Here I'm driving a scooty for 150 baht. So like, what is 150 baht? I think that's like 350, 4 euro, something like that. Let's say it's 4 euros. You would not pay more than I think 200. I'm not an expert for scooties in India, I'm going to admit that, but I doubt that you would pay more than 200 rupees a day in India. So that translates to maybe 2 euros a day for a scooty. Like, let it be like a little bit more, then it would be still cheaper. Let's have a look at food. Lunch at a South Indian place in Rishikesh that is excellent will set you back maybe like 2 euros, maybe even less. So it's incredibly affordable. If you're going all out with a dessert and so forth, let's say like then it would be like 253 for a really good South Indian meal with like multiple stages, multiple items, and a drink. In Thailand, on the other hand, food prices, basically for a meal you have to calculate 150 for a meal usually. Let's say like you get a curry, for example, that would be 120 baht plus 30 baht for rice. And that doesn't include a drink. So let's put a drink on top of that, would be 70 baht. You would end up at 220 baht. That's like maybe 8 euros. So you see, that's like 4 times the price. That's not everywhere the same. It really depends. Of course, street food, Of course, you have different options if you're a meat eater. I'm relegated to places where I can eat in Thailand. That again is like not a benefit also in terms of price, because you're just going to pay it if you don't have another choice, or if you don't want to suffer the headache of, eating stuff that you don't want, like for example, eggs and so forth. In some places, will be the only thing that people have in some cases to put in your fried rice or whatever. So that's a difference. It's like very different from person to person depending on their diet and preferences and so forth. I love Thai food. It's one of the best cuisines in the world, but I like vegan or vegetarian Thai food. And I love Indian food all around, North Indian, South Indian, basically all types of Indian food. The veg variety, of course, but still, yeah. Both of the countries offer great food, with India absolutely having a leg up when it comes to affordability. So if you're after that, then India is the place to go. Let's talk a little bit about the nature and environment, let's say like that. And also the level of garbage and dirt that you will encounter. That is different, and nobody will deny it. Thailand is frequently visited by Indian people, and they will tell you the same. It's a lot more clean in Thailand. You will still find garbage in beautiful nature spots, but not to the same quantity as you would find in India. So that's a big difference. It's just everything is a little bit more tidy, a little bit less dirty in some places, especially when you're talking about the big cities of India, okay? And then of course, there are always fancy places and so forth, but I'm talking about the general level. Let's be honest here right now. Everybody, even from India, knows that there is a difference in that. And that's definitely a plus point for Thailand. But then if you're in India in the right spots, let's say you're in Himachal Pradesh, you're in Goa, you are in Rishikesh or in Kodaikanal, Kerala, or even Bangalore, a beautiful city, you will have a moderate level of those things, even in India, and those places are often kept quite beautifully, or they are just less polluted and less environmentally hit in a way. Both of the countries have some of the most stunning scenery and epic landscapes that you will ever have seen in your life. Both of the countries offer an incredible variety. With India, in that case, I would have to give that to India for sure. The variety is just absurd because the country is so incredibly humongous. And that's about it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I know that this one was a longer one, a free-form video. If you enjoyed it, hit the like, subscribe, and share it with a friend. Thank you so much for listening or watching. And I see you guys in the next video. Much love. Peace out.